What's good, Commanders fans? Quick video here. I'm posting very early because I'm going to be pretty busy today. We won't have a lot of time to post a video. And just want to talk about some news that came out yesterday for the most part that I just didn't get time to talk about, excuse me, yesterday at all. So the report card is something that I really, really want to talk about. Like, sometimes I don't take a crate or really like talk about the report card much because it comes out every year and it's always bad. It's always bad. Even last year was bad. Last year was bad just because of all the mess that had to be cleaned up from Dan Snyder, and also Ron Rivera was still the head coach. We had Eric Bieniemy who was awful as well, and it was just a poop show for a lack of a better word. Ron knew he was going to get the axe, and he was making comments about, if I get fired and leave, I still want a ring because he believed that he set the foundation and whatnot, which he definitely did not. But yeah, I mean, you look at the numbers. The Commanders, we went from 32nd to 11th. 32nd to 11th. I want to look at some of the comparisons. And Dan Quinn got an A plus. He got an A plus report card grade from the players, everybody in the building, like being honest. And the players are always honest. Like the players have been honest every year about the facilities, the locker room, the team travel, the coaches, the owner. So these guys are going to be honest. They're there every day with Dan Quinn, day in and day out, practice, traveling, cafeteria, all the stuff that people don't think about. The families, how their families are treated, how their kids are treated, the facilities for their kids during the games and stuff like that. That was like an F minus last year. So all that stuff. I remember somebody put up a picture showing that they made upgrades to like the facilities for the kids and stuff. So let's just look at the comparison from last year. So treatment of families was F minus, 31st out of 32nd. And it's so funny. The Bengals got dead last in like cafeteria. They only get like 2 meals a day or something like that, which is terrible but hilarious at the same time. Like we're talking about millionaires and they're not even feeding these guys. They're not feeding Joe Burrow properly, Jamar Chase and T Higgins. Like you're paying these guys all this money, but you can't make sure that they're getting a good nutritional and a good meal. Like that's just hilarious. It's terrible but hilarious at the same time. So the Commanders last year, they got in the locker. I think the locker room grade was still bad. Like that's just something that's out of their control right now. Like Josh Harris and Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, they can't control like how the locker room looks. I know previous players love the locker room with the ping pong table and basketball in there and stuff like that, but you can't control like just the small booths and the small locker room space that each player has. Like that's out of their control for now. They can definitely change that when they get the new practice facility, if they're going to do that, or really the new stadium, if they're going to change. We're going to get a new stadium probably in 2030. Was it 2025? So that's what the goal is, 2030, to get a new stadium. So the locker room will be upgraded at that time. Even stuff like the field. Like I remember people talking about how the field was just like not one part of the practice field was not used, but they put like new turf and new grass down. So it's just things like that Josh Harris has definitely made it a point to change. For sure. So last year, treatment facilities B plus was an 11th. I'm sorry, it was 31st, which was an F minus. Food and cafeteria D plus last year, 27th. Now is 12th. So they upgraded the food and I guess they upgraded the food in the cafeteria. Treatment of families 11th, which is a B plus, which was 31st last year, and they got a B plus grade. Nutrition dietitian C plus 29th, which is still bad. Last year 27th, so they actually went down as far as ranking, but they went from a D plus to a C plus. Locker room F, 29th this year, and then locker room 32nd F minus. So they went from an F minus to an F, which is an upgrade. Training room C plus. Once again, it's just stuff that's kind of out of their control right now. Training room 32nd F minus last year. Training staff B plus. This year training staff F. Last year, we know we've had problems with training staff, and the whole DEA rated the training staff, or the lead training staff, the lead trainer for Ron Rivera. The DEA rated his the freaking facility, which was just insane under Ron Rivera. Weight room B minus was ranked 25th in the league. Weight room C, which was 25th in the league last year. So they kind of stayed the same with the weight room. It is what it is. Strength coaches A, which was 3rd. Strength coaches last year, A, which was 5th. So the strength coaches have been good. They were good this year and last year. Team travel, A, 4th. Team travel last year, F, 31st. So what I will say about the team travel, I remember when we played against the Cardinals and they got there early, and they practiced at Arizona State. So I think that's something that the players like. I don't know if they had more leg room this year or whatever. So I don't know what changed with the team travel, but I think winning cures all in that sense. So I just think team morale on the plains was definitely better this year. Head coach A+ first. Dan Quinn was first, man, and it's so crazy. Like Ron Rivera got a C last year, 31st. 31st out of 37. He should have gotten an F, but he got a C, which was second to last out of all coaches. Dan Quinn did a great job this year. I mean, getting the best out of his players, getting guys motivated, getting hyped in the locker room after games, getting guys hyped before games, going for it on fourth down continuously, just showing the utmost confidence in his quarterback, showing the utmost confidence in his team. When you continuously go for it on fourth down like that, it just shows that you just letting them hang, and you really believe in your players if you're going to go for it on 4th and 11, 4th and 5, 4th and 8. Consistent, not doing a tush push, legit, like going for it over and over and over again, and it working against the Lions, it working against the Buccaneers, seeing that stuff happen and just putting that batter in your back. You hear about Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, how much they love Dan Quinn, how much these players love Dan Quinn, Bobby Wagner's relationship with Dan Quinn, Dan Quinn giving guys hugs on the sideline and stuff like that, just hyping players up. I mean, he's just a legit professional. He has improved from his time with the Falcons, and like I said, winning cures all for sure too. So you can definitely see why the players love Dan Quinn with a passion. So for him to be A+, he should have won Coach of the Year. I think Kevin O'Connell won it, if I'm not mistaken. If it was like including the playoffs, of course he would have won it. But to go from 4-13 to 12-5 in one season, like a lot of guys were a factor for that. Like Jaden Daniels being a huge part of it, but the head coach and Dan Quinn, like he definitely should have. He should have won Coach of the Year. It is what it is. But this is good to see he got first. Ownership A, which was 8th, and last year it was 18th. So I mean, he was just getting his feet wet in there, learning and all that good stuff. So he went from 18th to 8th. I think last year, I mean, I get the average. It's about average. You just had to see more from him. I know fans are upset about the whole name thing. Who gives a crap? But this is what the players care about. They just care about on the field stuff. So Josh Harris got an A. That's awesome. That is awesome. So very well deserved for these guys. Very well deserved for the coaching staff and all these guys. And Josh Harris trying to put the work out to improve the facilities and just improve the player experience for sure. Like I said, winning really does cure all. I remember even the Patriots, even though they were winning, they had like bad grades across the board, even though they were winning. So even if you are winning, players are still going to be honest for sure. So this is just good news. They skyrocketed from, it takes time to get away from or improve what was going on with Dan Snyder and all that stuff. So it just takes time, and they skyrocketed literally within 2 years, which is just insane. We are so far ahead of schedule, which is just awesome for the Commanders. All right, so let's move on to Harold Landry. Harold Landry was given permission to seek a trade, basically like John Allen. Now, Harold Landry, we know he's a pass rusher. He was linked to the Commanders before the trade deadline, maybe give up a 4th or a 5th or something like that. Now, he potentially could be released, just like Jonathan Allen most likely will be released. And you look at the numbers for Harold Landry, he's getting about $17.5 million per year. So if you trade for him, you take on that salary, which is something that we have the money to do it. But is he really worth to do that? Now the Titans, if they release him, they would save $10.9 million in cap space with 13.1 million in dead cap hit, but they would save $10.9 million by releasing him now. Or they could save $17.5 million, $6.5 million dead cap by designating him as a post-June 1st cut. You look at Harold Landry's numbers. He has been a double-digit sack guy for the most part of his career. He had 10 sacks. He had 9 sacks last year in 17 games, 10.5 sacks in 2023, 12 sacks in 2021. He tore his ACL and did not play in 2022. 9 sacks in 2019, 4.5 sacks as a rookie in 2018. 2020 at 5.5 sacks. So at least 4 out of the 6 seasons, and he made the Pro Bowl in 2021. 4 out of his 6 seasons, he's had at least 9 sacks. So the sack production is there. And I think Harold Landry, honestly, is like a consolation prize. Like if you don't get Khalil Mack, if you don't get Myles Garrett, if a pass rusher that you really, really like is not available in the 1st or 2nd round and Harold Landry's released, I think that's a guy that you should have some interest in, and still re-sign Dante Fowler and then draft an edge rusher. And then your starters would be Dorrance, Harold Landry, backup Dante, backup third, fourth round pass rusher. I know they met with a pass rusher at the combine so far. I don't look it up who it was. I can't remember. But I like Harold Landry, man. And you look at his PFF grade for slowing down the run game. His run defense grade last year was 82.2, 49.6 pass rush grade. Didn't get a lot of pressures, but he does finish plays. He had 30 pressures, which was 63rd out of 211 edge rushers, which is not great, but he finishes plays, and that's something that we struggle to do sometimes. Like Jonathan Allen, who's not going to be here anymore, he struggled to finish plays at times, and I think that's something that Harold Landry definitely will help with. And if he's able to slow down the run game, that would be a huge, huge, huge help. So 6'5", 252 pounds. He is, how old is he? Former second round pick, 28 years old, so still in his prime, so still has a lot of years left to make an impact for sure. So I wouldn't mind Harold Landry. Like I said, there was rumors that we were connected to him earlier in the process, right before the trade deadline. So some Titans fans are iffy on him. They like him, and then they say he's mid. They say he's more of a coverage sack kind of guy, but we need pass rushers. We need help. And if he's released, I think he's the guy that we should definitely take a look at for sure. So you guys let me know what you guys think about Harold Landry. He has had 70. He started all 17 games last season, so he has been healthy for the most part, other than the ACL injury, finishing with 71 tackles, 9 sacks, 18 pressures, and 4 pass deflections. He has 31.5 sacks in the last 3 seasons. So I like Harold Landry. All right, you guys let me know what you guys think. As always, Health Commanders. Peace.